So the establishment has gone from ignoring Bernie Sanders to smearing him relentlessly, but this next video that you're about to see is a new phase in the feud. This guy's name is Hugh Hewitt. He's a conservative radio host. He has about 4 fans, but he's, one of these people who's always in elite media and on the Sunday shows and whatnot. They think anybody cares what he thinks. People don't, but nonetheless, I digress. So he's going to say something kind of surprising here. And we'll break it down, but he's making a curious endorsement.
What are you hoping for as a conservative here that wants to see the Democrats lose? This split here? Because this split might actually help Biden, who might be the tougher foe.
I thought the winner of the split was Pete Buttigieg, because either the Warren voter or the Sanders voter who was turned off, they're not going to go to Joe Biden. They've already committed to a progressive. I can tell you one thing, because Virginia allows early voting and because I don't know where NBC or Salem will have me on March 3rd, I'm voting this week. And because it's Virginia, I get to vote in the Democratic primary. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. And I think a lot of people will because he's authentic.
You're going to do calculated voting?
No, it's not. It's because I think he's authentic.
Yeah, you're going to vote for Bernie Sanders against Donald Trump?
No, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. But I want a clear choice between the authentic, traditional socialists and all the people who just pretend to be.
So this is cute. This is, Rush Limbaugh had done this in 2008. He urged all of his listeners to go vote in open primary states, go vote in the Democratic primary, and go vote for, I forget if it was Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, but basically he was saying, I think this person is a weaker candidate, therefore get them over the top so we can run against the weaker candidate. And this is very similar to what, Neera Tanden did and what the Democratic establishment did. They had what they called it internally the Pied Piper strategy. So go out there on the Sunday shows and talk about how, oh, you know who we're really scared of? We're scared of Donald Trump. We're so scared of Donald Trump. So, he's really serious and we should look out for him. And, we're taking him very seriously. Now, they were doing that because they wanted to, coax people into voting for Trump. And then they thought Trump was so beatable and Hillary couldn't lose to Trump. Shows you how much they know. Shows you how clueless the establishment is. Which brings me to Hugh Hewitt. So Hugh Hewitt was asked, hey man, as somebody who wants to see the Democrats lose, what are you hoping for? What are you going to do? And his response is, I'm going to go vote for Bernie Sanders. So you see what he's doing there? He's saying, I think Trump will obliterate Bernie Sanders, so I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders. I'm going to vote for Trump in the general, but I want to give the Democrats the candidate who I think has no chance. That's what Hugh Hewitt is saying. Well, first of all, thank you, Hugh Hewitt. I support your decision to vote for Bernie. But second of all, you're a jackass. These guys, man, I can't, do you understand how silly, the feeling I get internally when I listen to these mainstream media idiots? I don't think you get it. I think we need to invent a new word for the feelings that I get when I listen to mainstream media, because it's unlike anything else I've ever experienced in my life, and it's unique. The feeling is that of embarrassment, but also enjoyment mixed in with it, also mixed in with feelings of pity because they're so pathetic and so dumb. There's an amalgamation of feelings that I get right here in my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, they know nothing. This guy does politics for a living, and he knows Dickie McGeezax. He knows nothing. So, listen, on top of the fact that every single poll, bar maybe out of 100 polls, maybe there's 2 or 3 that have Trump winning. Maybe 2 or 3. So 97% of the polls show Bernie Sanders beating, Donald Trump swiftly. And that's the other point. It's not Hillary Clinton had a 3 or 4 point lead. No. We're talking about the average is Bernie up 8. That's what we're talking about here. So giant lead. Also, Bernie Sanders' biggest strength in the race are the exact states he needs to win the general election, namely the Rust Belt. That's where Bernie performs the best. The best. He's the polar opposite of Hillary in every way. Hillary was a weak candidate all around, very centrist candidate, and her biggest struggle was the Rust Belt states. She lost them. Bernie Sanders is polar opposite of her when it comes to policy and favorability and popularity. He's the most popular senator in the country still to this day, even with him on the campaign trail every day. His face is on TV every day. They smear him every day. A new poll just came out. He's still the number 1 most liked senator. And the Rust Belt is his strongest area, the exact place he needs to win. And on top of all that, guys, go issue for issue. Everything he talks about is already overwhelmingly liked, even with the $5 million anti-Medicare for all propaganda onslaught that just was unleashed by the establishment, by the for-profit health insurance companies and Republicans. They had a $5 million anti-Medicare for all ad buy, and it's still polling over 60%. They really think the dude who's relentlessly advocating for a living wage, stopping the outsourcing, a Green New Deal, and an infrastructure deal to improve this country, Medicare for all, free college, ending the wars, they really think like it'll be a cakewalk to defeat that guy from a president who 7 million people under Trump's administration lost their health care. Wages are still stagnant. 83% of his tax cuts went to the top 1%. He's beefing with Iran and threatening war every other day and increasing our other bombing campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria. You think you're going to have a cakewalk against the most popular senator in the country, who does best in the Rust Belt, who's overwhelmingly liked on every individual issue, and he's got a huge lead over Trump in the average? You think it's going to be a cakewalk against that guy? Pfft, come to Papa. Come to Papa. Guys, I said this a million times. I'll say it a million more. The hard part for Bernie is the primary. If Bernie gets through the primary, we're going to be doing, that touchdown, like when you're on like the 10-yard line and you're running into the into the end zone, and like you start kicking your legs up in the air and like showboating and nobody's near you. That's the entire general election if Bernie Sanders wins the primary. And I'm not kidding. Bernie Sanders will obliterate Donald Trump. I'm at the point now where even without the stock market crash, which is inevitable and it's coming at some point, by the way, they're propping it up now with billions of dollars of quantitative easing. So they know that thing's a freaking house of cards and they're trying to hold it together till after the election. But even without an economic crash, I think Bernie Sanders would obliterate Donald Trump. The hard part is the primary, because there's 432 candidates in there, and, he's not going to get an outright majority up front because there's too many candidates in there. So, it's a plurality that he's going to get, and he's got to defeat Biden, who still has that default lead, and Biden is so strong in the South on Super Tuesday. But if Bernie gets to the general election, good night to Donald Trump. And the other thing is, these guys are going to underestimate him like nobody's business. Donald Trump is going to underestimate him like nobody's business. When their whole argument every day is Venezuela, but socialism, Venezuela, big government. Even Republican voters are going to be like, you got anything else on this guy? I can't with this nonsense anymore. So, Hugh Hewitt, I shouldn't even be doing this segment. Now, they're not going to watch it and change their mind, but I don't know, maybe some people will. So what I would say to Hugh Hewitt is, yeah, man, you are totally correct. Bernie is such a weak candidate. Get everybody you know to vote for Bernie in the primary election, regardless of their ideological disposition. Please, what you are doing is not incredibly stupid and counterproductive to your own goals. Yes, get Bernie Sanders elected. I think it will go very well for you.